I have a serious question from a serious observation. How many of you advocate and tell other people to go to therapy, but you have never, ever been to therapy? Because I'm seeing a lot of that. Like, these people like, oh, this person has trauma. You need to be healing. You need to go to therapy. But you don't go to therapy, though. So how you telling somebody else to go to therapy when you don't go to therapy? Huh? You see my filter coming off? It's okay. I'm still fine without the filter. But how are you telling somebody to go to therapy? You don't go to therapy. How are you over here pointing out the traumas in women or the traumas in men, and you ain't even trying to fix your own stuff? You go to therapy. You practice what you preach. And you know how I know y'all don't go to therapy? Because y'all don't know how to deal with conflict. For real. Y'all don't know how to communicate with empathy and compassion. You don't know how to be mindful of your own thoughts and when you're projecting negativity onto others or when you're assuming. Because those things are addressed in therapy. And if you have a good therapist, they're going to give you homework and assignments for you to work on that and for your mindfulness to get stronger in those areas. So it's just the way y'all communicate that shows that you don't go to therapy. You're just a social media therapist. You know what I'm saying? You're like a social media guru, you know. But everybody can use therapy, man. It's very beneficial, and it helps guide your perspective to something healthier. It's really a great benefit to have. And I made a whole podcast that I'm going to link right here below that talks about how to find the best therapist for you, the research you need to do, whether you are needing someone who's trauma-informed, that specializes in PTSD, that specializes in confidence building, confidence boosting, inner child work, whatever. You have therapists that specialize in different areas. And I talked about how to find them, how to interview your therapist, how to know if it's going to be a good therapist, some things that look for when you're researching your therapist. Have they been in the game 8 to 10 years? Or did they just get started? They just graduate. You know, these things matter. And these things are going to affect your experience. So I talk about all that in the podcast. So I don't want to hear no little stereotypes and stigmas about therapy, because it's all in this podcast on how you can find the best. This is my last video and I'm about to go to bed. Therapy is not just for people with extreme issues like rape or people who are struggling with addictions. Therapy is also for just average people, because all of us got something we carrying. All of us got some kind of trauma, and we all have life-changing events. So therapy is a maintenance of your mental health, right? So for example, you get married. That's a life-changing event. You ain't never been married before, have you? Unless you've been married before. I don't know. But if it's your first time getting married, marriage counseling helps with maintaining a healthy mindset as you transition into another way of living and coexisting with a new person. We have kids. Have you ever been a parent before? No. You may say, well, I watched my parents raise other kids and watched it, but it's different when you do it. So you have parental counseling, therapy that helps you navigate that with the best mental state. New leadership role. You have therapy for that. It helps guide your perspective.